Hey and welcome to another video. This week I am just going to be talking about why you can't lose fat with an unhealthy metabolism. So the reason for this video is just because on 3 separate occasions this week with my coaching clients, they were wanting more clarity around the whole idea of why they need to do what we call a reverse diet before they can lose fat. And this is something that comes up all the time. So probably about 90% of my clients will actually need to reverse diet and restore their metabolism before they can go on a fat loss phase because they've been dieting their whole lives. So generally when they come to me, they've had enough of that diet yo-yo cycle and they have to go through this elongated process of repairing everything before they can start bringing that weight down. So I was going to film for them and then I thought, why don't I just make this into a YouTube video because then other people can benefit as well. So there's a couple of things that need to be considered when we want to lose body fat, and that is 1, the safety of the body, and 2, the health of your metabolism. So if we start off talking about metabolism, this will start to give you a bit of an idea. So your metabolism is basically the rate of which your body breaks down food and drink into nutrients. There's lots of other metabolic processes within the body as well, but we're talking about food metabolism and the metabolism as it pertains to weight loss. So first of all, what we have is what's called a resting metabolic rate, or an RMR. So this is the basal metabolism, which is defined in calories, as you would know from when you have a look at food, or kilojoules in other countries. And this number is the basic amount of food or calories that you require to stay alive. So your body needs to keep the brain function, you need to sort of get up and go to the toilet, go to the fridge, sit on the couch, keep your heart beating, digest food, detoxify. All of these things requires calories. So everything that goes on in the body comes from an energy exchange, which we measure in calories. And just to give you an example, someone who's about 65 kilos and a healthy body weight, they might have a resting metabolic rate of about 1,500 calories per day. That's 1,500 calories required in that person's body in order to function effectively throughout the day. So if you can imagine, if calories start to drop underneath that number, the body's going to start to become stressed, which is the second thing that we're talking about. Okay, so with more movement, we burn more calories. So if you add something like a walk every day or a run or a gym session or something like that, or if you have an active job, like if you're a tradie or you're working in retail, or particularly someone like a waitress, you're going to have a higher metabolic requirement as far as food is concerned because you are burning more calories. So you need your basic calories met. So for example, as a 65 kilogram person, or 130 pounds that is about, that person requires 1,500 calories per day just to function. And then if they're, say, burning another 800 calories per day through their job or through training, then they're going to need more like 2,300 calories per day just to survive. Okay, so we're not even talking about fat loss at this point. We're talking about maintaining the current body that we have. Okay, so fat is only lost when we go into a deficit, and it's only gained when we go into a surplus, which is when we eat more than what we're burning. And the other factor we want to consider around metabolism is that it is highly adaptable because the body is primed to survive. If you're supposed to be eating 1,500 calories per day, but you eat an average of, say, 1,100, because that is a threat to your safety, your body will actually down-regulate everything in order to function just as it would on 1,100 calories. But this is not healthy because what happens is it has to make a sacrifice. So either you're not going to be thinking as sharp, you might start slurring your speech. A lot of bodybuilders do this, like right before a competition, they talk really slow. You might find it too hard to get off the couch and go to the bathroom, so you just hold it for longer. Or you might not be able to exercise because you're too fatigued or you don't recover properly. Okay, so that's kind of what happens when your body down-regulates to an unhealthy metabolic rate. And then from there, we have high cortisol, which prevents fat loss. And high cortisol is also an indication that we are under stress and unsafe in our body. So if we're unsafe, again, we're not going to lose body fat because the body requires a certain amount of body fat in order to reproduce and have enough energy availability within the body to carry a baby. So that's where the safety piece comes in. So you need a healthy metabolism. So you need to be eating enough food to carry out all of your daily functions, your general functioning like surviving, and then your activity on top of that. And then on the other side, we need safety. So we need to be eating enough food because that provides safety for the body and keeps cortisol levels lower. The literature would suggest that it takes somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks for a metabolism to adapt. So let's just say you start dieting on 2,500 calories and then after 8 weeks you plateau. Let's just say you do start losing weight, then you plateau. Then you have to lower the calories to 2,200 calories. After 6 to 8 weeks, that's going to adapt. Then you have to, add activity or take away more food. The more fat you have to lose, the longer this process is going to go and the more wriggle room you're actually going to need. So if you have something like 20 kilos to lose, you need to have a very healthy metabolic rate because you're going to have to make adjustments, 5 or 6 times throughout that process. And when we do make adjustments, it's generally the smallest amount possible to get the best result possible. But what you don't want to do is end up in that really unhealthy range where, say, again, for a 65 kilo person, you don't want to have to dip under 1,500 calories if you can avoid it. Because pretty much anything you achieve under that number is going to bounce back because once again, we're in unsafety, cortisol's high. As cortisol rises, sugar cravings increase, and your ability to resist overeating is way more heightened because when the body is stressed, its number one priority is actually to preserve where you are right now or even add more body fat because what body fat is excess calories that your body can use in case of a famine. So if you think about this physiologically, let's just say you keep eating 1,300 calories a day, but you should be eating 1,650. Let's just say you're a sedentary person and you're only eating 1,300 calories. You're 300 calories short of what you need to survive. So your body is going to adapt to that and it's not going to be healthy. And then let's just say from there you go, I want to lose fat. So I'm going to go on this diet and it is 1,200 calories per day or 1,100 calories per day. You're not going to lose fat. If you've never done it before, maybe. But if you've chronically dieted, you're not going to lose fat because you need to correct the metabolism. So what we would actually do in this kind of scenario is ladder the calories up to push the metabolism up. So just as it adapts down ways, it will also adapt up ways. Okay, so if you're stuck on 1,500 calories and you're scared to eat more, you just go to 1,600 for a few weeks. Then you go to 1,700, 1,800. And all that's going to happen is suddenly it's going to liberate more energy, for one. You're going to lose a lot of water weight, for two, because you hold more water when you're stressed. You may lose a little bit of body fat, but it totally depends on the individual. And if you're coupling that with something like weight training, you're also going to be able to put on more muscle tissue because you're actually eating enough now that your body can prioritize that. And all you would do is you keep reverse dieting and you just keep edging that number up and telling your body that it's safe, it's even safer. Now it's really safe and I'm going to keep feeding you properly and eventually your metabolism goes right back up to where it was. It will restore and now your metabolic rate might be 2,000 calories a day to maintain your weight. So then when you want to diet, all things going well, and I have had people where this has actually not worked, but that's because they have very stressful lifestyles or they have a really hard time sticking to a diet. So there's a lot of other factors that come into fat loss that have nothing to do with your metabolism, but we're focusing on metabolism here. But so then what can happen, because your baseline calories are now 2,000, maybe you started on 1,500, now you can diet down on 1,700. Okay, so 1,500 is your bottom and you're dieting on 1,700, now your body's not unsafe, cortisol's not going to rise, you're not bottoming out below those maintenance calories, and your body is going to release body fat. Okay, so for somebody who is quite overweight, losing body fat is a lot easier because to get really overweight, you have to really supersede the calories required for your body on a daily basis. That's how body fat is stored. So you eat 3,000 calories a day, but you can only burn 2,200, 800 calories of those are going to be stored away in fat cells. Okay, and we just keep filling out those fat cells more and more and more. If it gets to a really extreme point, we start adding more fat cells. Your body is not concerned with subcutaneous fat. So that's like the fat that's under your skin, on your arms, your legs, your tummy, all of that sort of thing. It actually doesn't care about that fat. at all. So as far as your body's concerned, that's great. So that's out of the way, and it's there for future need if we're in a famine, okay? And it's also shunned away from the organs. So whether it's put this body fat on because of a high toxic load or because you ate too much, it's not too concerned, because as soon as there's a famine, it's going to use that for fuel and burn it all off anyway. But the fat that is a danger to your health, that your body really cares about, is that fat that's around your organs. So a lot of people, when they start dieting, especially if they have a really bad lifestyle in terms of like lots of fried foods, lots of refined sugar, lots of alcohol, that kind of thing encourages a fat storage around your organs, which is actually very toxic, and it lowers the function of those organs and can cause all sorts of health problems. Okay, so sometimes you might go to lose weight and things are actually going well in the body because you're losing visceral fat. So you feel all this energy liberated. You might lose a bit of water, you're feeling a lot more clear in your head, you're sleeping better, but the scales don't move, okay? And that's because you've lost the visceral fat, probably not so much the subcutaneous. So just remembering that your body does not care about your subcutaneous fat. If you're a healthy body fat level, or what your body considers to be healthy in terms of conceiving and carrying a baby to full term, so that's the female's number one purpose on this earth biologically, then it's not going to lose fat, and just remembering that women's bodies are healthy between 18 and 30% body fat, and we all fit on that scale differently. So someone like a Victoria's Secret model, probably more like 18%, maybe even lower. Somebody like, I'm probably higher, like 25 to 30. I don't like it. I wish I was 18 to 20, but I'm not. I have to push myself really hard to keep under a body fat like that, as do most of the women that I know. So just remembering that what you consider to be attractive and appropriate for your body is not necessarily what your body considers genetically to be appropriate for you. And it's always acclimatizing to your conditions. So if you don't eat enough, it's going to down-regulate everything. If your stress is too high, it's going to down-regulate everything. So the only real way to correct this problem is to try and up-regulate everything. And the best way to do that is to eat more food. And many women are resistant to this process. It is not uncommon to not want to do this because it is hard, it's scary. You feel full at first because, as I said, everything's down-regulated. So now you're going to be full. You're not going to feel like you're digesting it as well. It might be harder to go to the toilet, all sorts of things, because your body actually has to catch up. But once you keep giving it more food and more and more and more, it adapts. So it goes, oh, I see, like incoming calories. What are we going to do with these? And then it will up-regulate anything that it needs. If it's been holding back your energy because you're eating more food, it's going to liberate more energy. If it's been slowing your brain down, it's going to liberate more brain power, And if you've been having enough to survive, but not enough to fuel your workouts, now your workouts are going to improve. Okay, and in something like a surplus, where we push even further beyond maintenance calories, you're going to have things like accelerated muscle gain, because now there's even more energy that's needed to survive and get through daily function. So it goes, well, cool, keeps lifting weights, let's use this for fuel. Okay, so if you're an unhealthy body fat level, then reducing calories is not going to stress your body out, because it is highly unlikely that you have a down-regulated metabolism. That's just not how the body works. Okay, but if you're a healthy weight and you're trying to lose body fat, understand that it's not the body's priority, and you need to create conditions that are safe for the body to liberate that body fat. So if you want to create a body shape that feels comfortable for you, that's not actually what your body wants, because whatever you're doing right now in this moment, if you don't like how your body looks, your lifestyle is dictating your body appearance. And there's something in there that you would have to shift in order to lose body fat. Okay, and someone like a competition client, this is the whole thing with fat loss, is people think it's really simple, like, I'll just go keto, I'll just go vegan, I'll just do a 12-week challenge. More of those kinds of things you do, the more adaptations you create, the harder it is for you to lose fat. And if you keep cycling around on a diet cycle, your body figures it out. It's really smart. So it doesn't know that you're trying to create a body that feels beautiful for you. It thinks you're in the desert and there's no food available. So when you do that, it goes, all right, let's create more fat cells. Or, let's create the environment for more fat cells. Let's upregulate cravings. Let's see if that'll force them over the line. So it's thinking primally, you're thinking aesthetically. The body does its own thing, So if you want to lose weight and you're a healthy weight, you have to check your calories and make sure that you're eating enough to sustain your daily activities. And that is the number one key for losing fat when all other methods are failing you. That's all for this video. If you want to learn more about this topic, let me know and I will create more just like it. Bye.